And there we go. Achievement unlock. With Mao as your leader, win the Chinese Civil War. Made in China. Sun Tzu Reborn. Hey, I am FeedBackGaming, and this is Hearts of Iron. Hang on a second. Version 1.5.4 2018. Hello? A popular suggestion people keep asking me is, when are you going to play as Red China? This is that video. First of all, I'm going to show you the easy method. You roll back to version 1.5.4. How to do that is in the description below. New game, Red China, Iron Man on, historical on, boom, here we go. Story time. A long time ago, I discovered this exploit. What it allows you to do is when you're playing Iron Man and you get capitulated, you can observe and then take control of any other nation on the map. So what you could do is some funky things where you dip between several nations, try and buff certain nations and weaken certain nations to therefore set you up to get certain achievements a lot easier and quicker. That's exactly what we're going to do today. Now, when I discovered this exploit and I made several videos on it, I foolishly didn't make the video on Red China. I thought to myself, this exploit is going to be around for a while, and I don't think it's going to be patched. I was wrong. If you want to see a bunch of videos where I take advantage of this exploit, you can click this video or this video. It's on the little eye in the top right. Click it. Also, another disclaimer. The achievements that you get depends on the nation that you start the game with. So in this case, we start as Red China, and as you can see, achievements for Commie China, made in China. The people have stood up. Sun Tzu Reborn. You get the idea. The beauty of China is all of this area is cored. So you have the ability to hand over this nation to regular China. Boom. Game over. Or is it? We click observe, then we click one of the warlords, and they see the Guanxi click, and then we click this button that says take over the Guanxi click. Now we are playing as this nation. Then we do the same thing again. We return territory to Big China. Boom. Game over again. Observe. Zaibai Sanma, take over, return territory to China. Shaanxi, return. Boom. Not forgetting about you as well. Return. And there we go. Oh, no, forgot about Yunnan. You thought you could get away, didn't you? Nope. So, this is as far as you can get with China. Now we're going to load back up as regular China. Boom, we are now Super China. And now we're going to go manage occupied territories, release communist China. And then we're going to say we're going to play as them. Boom. Now, isn't that pretty? Kind of. Now, I actually didn't realize this, but they don't actually have a core on this territory. I wonder if it might be because I handed the territory back to them. Comment below if you know the answer. And there we go. Achievement unlock. With Mao as your leader, win the Chinese Civil War. Man, that was the easiest civil war, right? 2nd of January, 1936. Yes, I get it. This is cheesy. And this predates Man the Guns. So as you can see, there's no oil. And also the Navy tech tree is very bare bones. So who really wants to play this far back? I don't know about you. I hate playing old versions of games. Let me show you a way of doing this legitimately. Hey, and we're back. Version 1.7.1 is the latest version as of June 2019. Well, there you go. Let you know. Single player, new game, 1936, Iron Man, historical, regular, Red China. This wouldn't be a FeedBackGaming video if there weren't a few glitches in this. We're going to spam 1 battalion horse divisions. We're going to defeat Japan in absolute record time. And we're going to spend as long as possible to build up to make sure we've got the ideal division to defeat them. And then, when the Japanese are defeated, we go straight for mainland China and therefore unify China under the red banner. And of course, we are going to go with LMAO. First of all, select all divisions, delete all but one. We're going to go with one of the veteran ones because he'll get lots of XP. Exercise, bing, bada, boom. First of all, we don't want to select a national focus. We want an extra political power per day because we're going to justify from almost day one. And we're going to build up lots of infrastructure in our capital. It might not seem like a big deal, but improving the infrastructure here adds more supply for your entire empire. So my advice is to build this up as soon as you can and then move on to other things. Have you seen these national spirits? Oh my god, so much red. So much red. Is this Kaiserreich? Right, research, artillery, and basic machine tools. Right, we've got enough political power to justify now, and we could do that 125 days. And we can also go for the next one as well, which are neighbor to the west. And we go now to political power. There we go. Boom. We're going to convert this division to the slightly larger one because we have 2. Both of them are pretty pathetic, but this one's slightly larger, so we'll get more XP. All we need to do is exercise so we get 5 experience so we can make a brand new division of 1 battalion. And now we can select our first national focus, which we are going to go for land distribution. The plan here is we need to unlock our research slots as early as we can because we're technologically behind. We haven't invented the boat yet, or the plane, or the wrench. 5 experience. So now I'm going to spam out a bunch of new divisions, and they're all going to consist of 1 battalion of horse. 23 of them, to be precise. Go. And we'll convert this to the horse division as well. Therefore, we'll get some guns back and go back straight on training. So when it comes down to loading out our generals, we need 2 generals. We need 1 for defensive purposes and 1 for offensive purposes. At the start, we're going to play defensively, as you'd imagine, because Japan's very strong. In this case, going for Mao is a good idea. I've unlocked all these traits. So this guy is the perfect defensive general. We're also going to go for Li Bao. I'm pronouncing that right. And he is going to be our offensive field marshal. And with that, we can give him offensive doctrine. When I've got the CP anyway, I've not got any now. And then the general will be you, Shen Yi. Deploy all these divisions now. Boom. Pop them on the front line. Go here. Railroad. And we'll exercise them to level 2. Not that it makes a big difference because these divisions basically have no soft attack. 3. Now we can go for literacy programs to get that first research slot. Now we've done artillery. We're going to jump onto AA because we need to start producing those as soon as possible. And we're going to go for dispersed industry, which is something I wouldn't usually do as a small minor nation, but you're going to get very big eventually. So disperse is the way forward. But right now we're a babby, but eventually we will get big and very strong. Right, 96%. Stop exercising. We need to get the organization back up again. The way we're going to win this war is just by pushing into their front lines that they've got gaps in. At the moment, they've currently only got 5 to 6 divisions, so we've got loads of gaps just to smash into their front lines. Just move them forward one at a time, holding shift and getting rid of each division as you move forward. Leave one division behind just for the purpose of holding that front line. And there we go. Gonna make sure we cut them off in different directions. Shaanxi is an annoying nation because it has only 1 victory point, so that is not enough to capitulate. So you've got to eat up a lot of their land. What we'll also do is put them on aggressive, and once we've got a breakout, we'll activate our plans, and then we'll spread out. See that 1 division is now encircled. Perfect. And we can see the guys are all spreading out now to try and capture as much land as we can. Don't forget about the 1 victory point as well. That's very crucial. Oh, they're encircled. Ooh. And is that it? 94, 98, and 100. We have expanded. Grab all the divisions, pop them onto this front line here, move them over. We've got a bit of political power now. My advice is to go for military theorist as soon as you can. We're going to be lacking army experience. 1 battalion divisions don't seem to generate much XP, so that's just something to be aware of. Now we've unlocked a research slot. We can fan out the amount of research that we're doing. We can focus on industry, electronics, and infantry equipment. Now we have to work down the MAO path here. And what's crucial is we get rid of power struggles, which is here. Power struggles is bad because it eats into our political power when we hire new advisors. What we'll do is sit on our political power right now, not spend it, wait until we get rid of power struggles, then we can spend more of it to hire advisors. Let's do that. The doctrine we're going to go for is a no-brainer, and it is superior firepower. Also, we're going to start working on artillery as well, as early as we can. We're about to finish our justification on the horse gods of Central Asia, and now we're going to justify on you as well. Right, there is a method with this that we can break through their front lines and do lots of damage. As you can see, there's only 1 gap in their front line, and it's here. If you've timed this just right, you should be able to plow into them pretty quickly. We're going to select a lot of these divisions, press S to split. That means some of them will stay on the front line. Unassign them from the front line, and I'm going to B to railroad them to here. Do the same with these ones too. Select them, B, unassign, railroad to the center. We've got at least 10 divisions, 12 divisions just sat here on this front line, and everyone else is thinly spread out. Good, we're on a good phase now. Great, we're all set up now. I'm going to push forward and gradually just sweep through their nation. Good, now switch out. Here, 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 and maybe again go. Oh, spaghetti. Here, here, and then push here. And then maybe 1 division goes directly for their victory points in the center. There we go. So what will happen now is you'll be able to push through them, but then they'll panic and they'll be like, well, we haven't got divisions to hold the front line, and they're breaking through us. What do we do? And eventually they'll make more gaps in their front line. We're kind of just hoping that AI just sits and just does nothing. Ah, there we go. There we go. You guys are going to go here now, and I'm going to pop you boys here and here, and you guys are going to go here and here. Activate the plan, and then they'll attack and hold them all in place. We're not really interested in defeating these divisions. We just want to pin them in place. And now their entire army is encircled. So now we can just march forward and grab the victory points. Be aware of the odd division that tries to escape. You can't leave. You can't leave. Get in your box. You have to stay in there. Rip. Right, same again. Put these divisions on this front line. Put them forward. Railroad them. Get forward. AA has just finished, and we'll start producing AA. Currently, we have no steel, so we're going to get that from the Soviet Union. And now we have more building slots, so now we can build more factories. We're going to finish this 1 infrastructure in our capital, and then we'll resume it later in the game. Right, we're going to work on artillery now. We need to rush down this focus tree to get as much soft attack on our divisions as possible. Right, we've got superior firepower now, and now we can work towards radio for that reinforce rate. Radio is a little bit more important for Red China because you suffer from Red Army weaken, which reduces your reinforce rate. So we need to get those numbers back so you can reinforce into battle a little bit quicker. Right, we've got rid of power struggles now, so we can spend our political power. My advice, silent workhorse and free trade. Now, we're going to permit opium trade, which reduces consumer goods by a massive 15%. Insane. Right, we've made a breakthrough right now. Activate the battle plan. And then once again, we're just going to pin them all in place. As you see right now, these guys are about to get encircled. They'll suffer from the low supply penalty. Oh, and the Soviet Union would like to send us volunteers. Okay. One thing that could go wrong in this war that I have noticed a few times, if you're a little bit slow in capitulating them, the Soviets will send them volunteers. In this case, I've got unlucky and they've not. But there's a chance they might do that. So just be aware of that, okay? Right, we are rushing for artillery. We're going to get our industry sword to get more building slots and more factory output. And we're also working towards radio. Ah! Exactly what I thought was going to happen. The Soviets have arrived. We've got to be quick right now. We have to gobble up as much land as possible. Otherwise, we're going to run into some serious problems because they're always going to be able to defeat us in open battle. There we go. Got them. With this general now, we can go for offensive doctrine. And then we're going to save the 2 traits to select later, particularly when he gets organized and we get all these options available to us. Right, what I would advise you to do now is convert them all to this template, this guy. And then what I recommend is you just exercise them to get them to all to level 3. Right, this is the event to form the Chinese United Front against the Japanese, and this is the one you want to go for. What's important is that China joins the United Front, because otherwise they'll end up joining the Comintern or the Allies, and then you're going to end up this big world war situation. If they're in their own faction, that means you can gobble them up later. Don't forget to import steel, because you need to make sure you keep on top of that gun production. You start the game on service by requirement, which is pretty insane as China, because you've got so much manpower anyway. So you need to step down to extensive conscription, and that'll gain you the construction speed back and the factory output speed back. We're going to work on construction as well, because we need to build up in the meantime. I wouldn't usually recommend construction for Red China, because you suffer from, as you can see here, quite a few big hefty penalties due to recovering from the Long March. Right, at this point, we're going to do something a bit unusual. This will give you an edge against Japan. And out of all the nations in the game that you can collaborate with to get bonuses, the best is France. I know, right? France. I know, right? This unlocks 3 military factories. Insane. This one gives free engineers, plus 5 entrenchment for your entire army. Also really insane. And some of those aren't too bad either. For instance, heavy weapons for the extra artillery. A free general. Is he any good? I don't even know. Plus 1 defense for all your generals. Plus 1 logistics for all your generals. Pretty sweet. So invite foreign investors. And we are going to, in the meantime, boost relations with France. Because we need at least 75 relations with France to continue. Right, I'm going to go for support equipment now, because we need to get reconnaissance. It will make a big difference when fighting the Japanese. Oh no, Japan's declared on China, and it's asking us to join the war, and we're going to say no. So what they'll do now is they'll just duke it out around Beijing for a while. Eventually they'll break through the plains in northern China, but that's totally okay, because at that point we'll be more prepared for them. Don't join the war immediately. They'll push you back, and it'll cause you a lot of problems, so just chill for now. We just chill. Reach out to France. Yes. Oh, by the way, the reason why we're doing this now is because France will fall in 1940. I wonder how. And when that happens, this focus tree, you can't get down it anymore. So my advice is take advantage of these bonuses now before they disappeared forever. Right, these divisions are maxed out, and we can exercise them now to level 3, which they'll exercise a lot quicker than they would usually. 1.2% per day. Amazing. Right, reconnaissance is the way forward, and we're going to make a slow drip of support equipment into our production. 1 factory will be enough. Okay, this is a mistake that's so easy to make, and I made it again. I even did it in the test run, and I made this mistake. Keep an eye on your relations with France, because if they drop below 75, the focus cancels. My advice is just keep throwing political power and boosting relations with France, because otherwise that'll happen over and over again. It's a freaking nightmare. So annoying that when you improve relations, it automatically cancels at 100. There you go, it's 100 now. And it'll slowly start to dip down over time. And when it drops below 75, it cancels your focus. And you end up in a situation where you've just wasted all the time for the focus, which is not ideal. Right, all of our divisions now are level 3. Pop them on the front line. Now we can make adjustments to this division. We can add on 1 battalion of artillery. Because most of these guys are almost level 3 now, when we exercise them, they'll jump up to level 3 fairly quickly. It just seems to be the correct process is to get them to level 3 with a small division and keep adding to it and exercise them. It just seems to be more cost efficient. We need a bunch of divisions just to hold the front line, kind of like reserves. And we need at least about 18 of those. So what we do is focus very heavily on guns initially, and then we can start reaching out to put more into, for instance, AA or artillery. Definitely artillery. We can guarantee the Hanoi route. And also keep an eye on France. Make sure those relations are nice and high. Look. -3 relations per month, so keep improving relations. It's a massive waste of political power, but trust me, you want to do this now, sooner rather than later. Don't forget about your building slots. It's important that you fill them all out now with military factories. You need those military factories. It's important. Right, we're going to rush for Dispersed Industry 3. We need the building slots, and we need the factory output, so now is a good time. We also want to focus on getting better guns as well. My advice to you is trying to pump out as many basic raw pre-war guns as possible. Get those World War I guns now. You can mass produce them, get all your divisions out in the field, and then move on to upgrade them to better weaponry, which is now. Behind on steel again, we need to make sure that we're keeping on top of that production, because otherwise we're going to have a lot of problems. Right, now we can do construction battalions, which is... I'm actually surprised this even exists. +5 entrenchment for your entire army. That's so brutal. It's literally a free engineer, a mini free light engineer. Got the option to improve this division again. We're going to slap on some more artillery. And once again, we're going to exercise them to make sure they're level 3 instantly. Got lots of excess guns now, so we can improve this division to make it a full 20 width. And same again, exercise them, get the experience, push them to level 3. So these new divisions that have just deployed, we put them as a fallback line here. So eventually the Japanese will push through the north. In this case, this would just be a nice little holding position just to slow them down a little bit. Don't expect miracles, but it will slow them down. All right, we're going to go for a French military mission now. We're also going to go for war economy. And we're also going to go for war industrialist. So as you can see now, we're running out of building slots. That's why it's crucial to rush disperse industry 3 so you can get those more building slots. Because we're approaching the time we're about to go to war, I am going to start working on improved infantry equipment. We can also have the option to upgrade our guns too. Ideally, this is the production you want to aim for. 1 on support, 2 on AA, 9 on artillery, and the rest on basic guns. And this is why having supply in our capital is worthwhile, because you can see here in the Gobi Desert, the supply is a bit of a problem. So what I'll do is pop that to the top, let that finish, and then we'll continue making military factories. We can now add reconnaissance and AA onto our ideal infantry. And don't forget to exercise him. As you can see, that's just enough support equipment just to keep our main frontline battalions reinforced. This is something you're going to have to keep an eye on and just react accordingly depending on how the war between Japan and China is going. If you find that Japan is completely obliterating China and they've pushed this river line, you might have to join the war earlier. But right now, they're holding quite well. So I'm just going to wait. What I'm going to do in the meantime, just to avoid this attrition problem, is I'm going to narrow the front line, just squeeze them in there. And that way, I won't have to experience attrition issues. And there we go. We have run out of building slots. So now we focus on infrastructure in our capital. Alternatively, if you max out infrastructure in the capital, popping AA here and here is also worthwhile. So just to recap, we're rushing for artillery for the soft attack, working on basically raw guns. Now this is finished, we can go for this one a lot faster. We're also unlocking more building slots. It doesn't look like the Chinese are faltering, so at this point, I would normally go for high command, if infantry expert, or you can go for defense expert, both viable. But in this case, because the war isn't moving and progressing, we can just focus on our industry again. So we're going to go for the popular figurehead and get more stability. Right, we've got reserves of artillery now, so we can go for the upgraded version. Let's go for improved reconnaissance. Reconnaissance is important because it gives you better tactics. As soon as you've got excess artillery, there's nothing wrong with adding support artillery on as well. Extra 24 soft attack, don't mind if I do. Make them elite, and we'll give them a different icon so they pop out the fist. As a small nation, 40 width divisions tend to be really handy because you do a lot of soft attack, you can concentrate all your firepower in a narrow front line, so it tends to be really effective. In this one instance, I would not recommend a 40 width division. You'll not have enough supply within this area to be able to push through. Even with this division, which is fairly light on the supply, you'll still struggle with supply issues. So my advice to you, don't do 40 width in this instance. Here we go. It looks like they've made a breakthrough now. This looks like the opportunity that we need. So I'm going to go for infantry expert. Pop you boys on the front line, spread you out. What we'll do initially is put them on balance and then just initially push and just tease the front line. I would also like the reserve divisions in the back have a little bit more bite to them as well. So what I'll do is I'll just exercise you guys on the back line. And there we go. We have completed our focuses with the French. Now we don't have to care about the French anymore. Right, you've got a few options right now. My advice is to get more war support. So you can go for abolish the land rent, and you can also rush down here. A lot of these focuses will skip because you are currently at war with Japan. This one, and this one will skip. And what you can do then is get rid of Red Army Weakened, and you can also go for the People's War, as well as extra 20% in core territory, which is pretty good. Let's abolish the land rent first. Right, there's no point delaying this anymore. Let's accept the call to arms, and let's make initial push. Oh, and we annihilate them. Impressive. Soviets want to send volunteers. I would recommend you accept. We need to make sure this front line moves further north. So what you want to do here is push into Manchu and Japan by going around and through their puppets. Don't push into Beijing, because this land will return to the Chinese. What you want to do is paint the map with your color, and you can't be going into allied territory, the Chinese, and then fighting out of there. You have to push into enemy territories, kind of wrap around to get all the territory under your command. In this case, we're just going to change the front lines ever so slowly and then move up the fallback lines as well. Menguko is almost capitulated. We just need to eat a bit more of the land in the north. Keep an eye on supply areas, so we need to do repairs. That way we can keep on top of our supply. Right, we can go for advanced artillery, and we can also work on our AA as well. If you look in this area, we can have a little look. In the last 12 months, we've shot down 8 bombers and 12 support aircraft, which would be CAS. Which is very effective, because the Japanese don't really have a massive air force. So just taking down a handful of bombers is massive. Making like small pushes here into the deserts and the plains is worthwhile, because you get to use all your firepower. You don't get bogged down in the mountains. Front lines are adjusting here. My advice is just to make a front line instead of a fallback line. Keep an eye on your generals. If they get infantry expert, you want to be on that. Extra attack is going to be worthwhile. Keep an eye on the front lines here as well. You want to hold these mountains for as long as you can. At this point, I'd work down this focus tree. So we have to go for this one, this one, this one. This one would skip. I go for this one, that one would skip. And then I can get the option for 20% extra defense and extra cheaper guns. But in this case, I'm going to go for Maoism for the stability. And they're also cheaper guns. What I'm going to do is make this front line twice as long, and that might alleviate some of the supply issues, because I'm really getting bogged down in the desert. With the extra research slot, we can rush our doctrine texts, which are well overdue. Ah! Finally, we've got him. Li Jin, a brilliant strategist. Not only does he gain an extra +1 into attack and planning, but every time he levels up, he's more likely to get more into attack and planning, which makes him a perfect offensive general. Initially, though, he's going to be kind of weak because his stats are a bit crap because he's level 1. But when we level him up to at least level 3, he should be the brutal offensive genius that he is. Going a little bit more into a defensive situation right now, as we're kind of holding more than we're attacking. But that's totally okay, because we'll wait for our guns to recover, and then we'll level up our general, and then we'll be able to counterattack pretty fiercely. Meanwhile, in China, don't worry about it. The honest truth is they need to lose this city here before they'll capitulate. Trust me, though, you don't want that to happen, because if it does, you will automatically peace out too. Now, we'll work down this path. Be aware, too, that this adds an extra 2 infrastructure in your capital. You don't need to max it out. Just get it to 8, and this focus will fill out the rest. All right, let's test the front lines out. Let's make a little push. There's nothing right now that we can go for that isn't way ahead of time. So what I'm going to work on is electronics and computer machines and getting encryption and decryption. Another advice that's worthwhile is logistics. This reduces attrition, and due to the desert and low supply, that'll take some of the bite off the attrition losses. Right, he's got infantry expert now. He has got organizer. His leveling is not what I would have preferred. I would prefer those points into attack, my dude. This guy now has leveled up to get infantry leader. We're going to go for ambusher, though. That means this guy is going to like really super dig in. Ready for a push? Let's go. Right now, we can go for protracted warfare. This is useful because right now, every time we push, they counterattack and keep pushing back and forth. So we're not actually making much ground. So that extra defense is going to go a long way. As well as we're also going to go for army regrouping. Li Jin, you've got 6 in logistics. You were meant to be the chosen one. Ah, he's just got wounded. That really sucks. And we'll also go for People's War to make guns 10% cheaper as well. In the last 12 months, total planes shot down 400 just based on ground AA. Ground AA right now is better at shooting down bombers than fighters. It's insane. All right, time for a breakout. Let's go. Oh, they're retreating on all fronts. Now we're going to get rid of Red Army Weakened. I don't need it, but I'm going to go for the defense guy just to prevent that counterattack, because I've never experienced such an aggressive counterattack. I have to push all the way to here, and then they push us all the way back. The ping-ponging is insane. Okay, we've got an organizer here, so I'm going to promote him, make him field marshal, and give him logistics wizard. Oh, I might as well get offensive and thorough planner as well. And that should alleviate some of the supply issues I'm having. Hey, Menkuko is gone. It's not made a massive difference to the front line, though. Even this guy's rolled 8 into defense. Oh, no. And he's wounded. Next! Don't forget about your doctrines. It is time to push. Oh, yes, at last. It took a long time, but we've finally broken through them now. And we're not going to have supply problems. The bottleneck of supply here is just crazy. And we weren't getting very lucky with the general rolls, so it is what it is, really. Just to recap on the research, working on encryption, decryption for the extra attack bonus, reconnaissance for an attack bonus, and doctrines for, I guess, attack. We're working on attack, guys. And we have split them in half. Hallelujah. Now the Japanese are destroyed. So the focus we want to go for now is one China policy. This will give us like a war goal against the other Chinas. And there we go. We finally pushed them out of Korea. Get out! Out! Field Marshal frontline. Get all the troops here. Convert all of you guys to my stronger artillery. Go, go, go. Right, we finally pushed them off the mainland. Japan is definitely battered. Now, in my rehearsal games, the last two that I did, at this point, America was naval invading the mainland Japan. And because they had no fighting strength left, the USA just gobbled up all the mainland, and then we get to peace out. It doesn't look like, in this instance, that is happening. So, I've decided to take it into my own hands. And we're going to go for bathtubs and trade interdiction. Yes. Oh yeah, and China sent us an expeditionary of 1 division. So I decided to put him in the mountains and exercise. Actually, I've just thought of something. What I could have done is ask for a submarine license. Oh my god, why didn't I ever think of that? And I go for the crappiest submarine. Alright, that's the way you do it. Our first naval battle. And we're going to run away because the carriers are going to arrive. Oh, that was underwhelming. Right, we can make our own subs now. We've got the XP from the focus. And we're going to go for a bathtub with big fat tubes and a big engine. Our first kill. Kind of cute to start off with no navy and then actually build our first ship and actually do things with it. It feels really special. No, we lost our first sub. This looks familiar. When have I done this before? Oh, damn. Heavy ship and a cruiser sunk. Whoa. Nice. Time has passed, and this is a familiar scenario. Low convoys for Japan. A minute ago they had 0, but all of a sudden now they have 100, 200. I don't know where they came from. Regardless. Oh yeah, it's just me minding my own business. Oh yeah, just building up an invasion of Japan. Because America's fallen asleep and not really interested. Fair enough, USA. And yeah, China decides to leave the United Front and join the Allies. I have never seen that before. Sometimes I wish that I hit the record button when I was doing the rehearsal. So we did a little naval invasion here. Hey, made a little encirclement. It's not a biggie, but... oh, I don't know. Like 150,000 men. I don't know. It's not too bad. Alright, let's try a strat. Boom, 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 boom. Collapse the front line. They all get pushed back. Kind of hoping for encirclement, but we have so much firepower right now. We're just pushing them back. Don't usually select this one, but we'll go guerrilla fighter. 50% faster entrenchment. Right, we've made a breakthrough. I think we've split them in half. Yeah, we have. Oh, thank goodness. Wow, this is dragging out a very long time. I think most of the divisions are stuck on these 2 islands at the minute. Just right now we've had a clean break in the mainland and it seems to be going pretty well. Hey, nice. I've just spotted that all of this is coming from the single port of Nagasaki. I've got a naval invasion plan. See if we can land here and take Nagasaki, and then all of this will de-org. There we go. Only 6 supply now. Rip! That is actually an okay peace conference. That is actually an okay peace conference. The only bit of land that's a bit border gore is that. But the rest is pretty damn good. Alright, China. It's so satisfying for me to say this, but it's time for me to get rid of you. Because you are spectacularly annoying. The People's Republic of China has been declared. So as soon as they're in the Allies, we're going to have probably a little bit of problem with Raj, but when we demolish the Raj, it should be relatively straightforward. All right, war. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And now I'm at war with the United States. Oh, damn. And the UK. Not going to lie, though, it is really satisfying to destroy all this Allied shipping. It's very, very satisfying. All right, we need to extend this area into the Raj to cover. How interesting. The Republican Chinese have fled to Taiwan. Historical game, by the way. Actually, that is historical. There you go. Yay! Rip! And there we go. I have won the Chinese Civil War. It is mine. Yay! There we go. Made in China. Boom! Skill 9. Maxed out. And do you know what this means? Do you know what this means? We have perfection. Sun Tzu Reborn. Done. The final thing to do is to reclaim Mongolia, because that's rightfully Chinese, right? At some point in history. Mongolia is ours. Rip Mongolia. And there we go. There's a few things I do want to check, though. First of all, let's look at the casualties. I lost 500,000 to China. Oh, and I lost just under 500,000 to India as well. I guess I was grinding in the mountains for a while. Soviet Union lost 26 million. Holy. UK's lost 10 million. United States lost 9 million. Interesting that we appear in this list as well. We're third from the top at the UK casualties. And the biggest enemy of China is China. Wonderful.